What's up, everyone, and welcome into another exciting episode of That Dynasty Show. Today, we are bringing you a little keep trade cut action. We've done this sort of video before, and we'll definitely be doing it again because we really enjoy doing this, and the numbers seem to do good. So it sounds like you guys are enjoying it too. But before we jump into our keep trade cut of the week, Tyler, buddy, how are we doing?
I am great, and I love these videos because they make both of us squirm, and it gives us some chances to talk about some guys at random too. So yeah, I'm happy to be here, sir.
Yeah, these are a ton of fun. And speaking of a ton of fun, dude, I get to see you in real life this week, right? Like, how cool is that? So for those of you who don't know me on a personal level, I'm getting married this week. So Tyler's going to be running videos by himself for the next week and a half after this video. So unfortunately, you will not see my beautiful face or hear my angelic voice, but it is what it is. But I get to see Tyler in real life for the first time in like 2 years. So I'm pretty pumped about that.
Yeah, I know. It's been a while. It's been a little bit too long, but yeah, I'm excited for you, happy for you, and it's going to be a good weekend getting to see you. So
hell yeah, dude. It's going to be awesome. But so are these keep trade cut picks. I'm going to give you mine first. So we're going to start off with a little quarterback action, and I'm sure you knew something similar to this question was coming, but I'm interested to see where your head's at. So, and mind you, this is Dynasty channel, right? It's all Dynasty implications, but we are 3 weeks into the NFL season. So my first keep trade cut for you, Tyler, is going to be Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, and Jalen Hurts.
Wow.
Coming out firing.
Yeah, really. I mean, it's looking like Lamar Jackson is the league winner that he once was. So it's going to be hard to get rid of him. For me, it's like Lamar is definitely the one I want to keep. And even though Jalen Hurts has also been performing really well, I think I'm still getting way more value for Justin Herbert. So I'm going to keep Lamar, trade Justin Herbert, and cut Jalen Hurts. That wasn't as tough as I thought it was going to be, but definitely 3 top tier guys for sure.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Unfortunately, as much as I love Jalen Hurts, I'm probably cutting Jalen Hurts in this scenario as well, except I'm going to flip it. I'm going to keep Herbert, and I'm going to trade Lamar. I think Lamar Jackson I mean, he just had back-to-back 40-point game performances. And then even week 1, he had like 26 or 27 points. Not too shabby. But Lamar Jackson's trade value is the highest it's ever been, or at least the highest it's been since he was the NFL MVP, right? I think Lamar is going to get paid, and I think he's going to keep it up. But Lamar plays a very bruising style of game, and even though his game as a passer has looked tremendous through 3 weeks, right? Like, he is dropping dimes out there. He's looking amazing, whatever. I think Justin Herbert definitely just has a bit more longevity, and currently he's coming off of, he played a game where he has 3-4 broken ribs right now. So kind of hard to hold that against him. I just think Lamar Jackson's trade value is absolutely skyrocketed right now. If I have any 3 of these guys though, I'm pumped, right? So it's kind of like a win-win-win situation. I just think I'm getting the most return for Lamar Jackson right now. So that's my trade guy. Keep Justin Herbert, and it pains me to say it, but gotta cut Hurts in that situation.
Yeah, and most of the time if you have Jalen Hurts on your roster, I mean, you have one of those really good studs at either the running back or wide receiver position that you went for earlier, or even the tight end spot maybe, right? So odds are you're in a pretty good spot with your lineup if you passed on quarterback and then went with Jalen Hurts, or if you took Lamar at the 5-6 spot. Either way, it looks like you're in good shape. But yeah, so again, to my first one here, and it's a fun one. Not the biggest names, but big enough, right? So Christian Kirk, Mike Williams, or a late 2023 first-round pick.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm probably going to trade Christian Kirk. Part of me wanted to say I'm going to keep Christian Kirk, but actually, I don't know. I think actually I'm changing it. I'm going to keep Christian Kirk. Initially, I wanted to go with him as a trade because I think he'll fetch the most in my head. But now that I'm realizing it, like I've been scrolling on Twitter the last several days, and there are just endless tweets of people complaining how they can't give away Christian Kirk, right? Because Kirk is probably worth a late 23 first with how well he started off the season, but nobody wants to trade up for Christian Kirk. Rightfully so. I mean, we really haven't seen consistency out of him over the course of his NFL career. So, but I think there's a lot to like there. So I'm changing my answer. I am going to keep Christian Kirk because I don't think the trade value is there. I am probably going to. It's tough because I feel like if I'm trading Mike Williams, it's probably for a late 23 first. So it's almost a toss-up in this situation. But I think I'm going to trade the 23 first and cut Mike Williams. And the only reason why I'm saying that at this point in time is because of Justin Herbert's injury, because of Keenan Allen's injury. I think that obviously is a stock trending downwards a bit for Mike Williams just because of the immediate situation. So I think you'll be able to get more return for that first round pick than you would for Mike Williams currently. So we'll keep Kirk. We'll trade the late 23 first. And unfortunately, we will drop Mikey Wills.
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you. I think Christian Kirk is the guy I'm going to keep. Right now, he's the wide receiver 6 in terms of PPR, which is pretty crazy. A guy who's probably drafted as like wide receiver, 25, 26 this year, going up in the first 3 weeks of the season at wide receiver 6. And, the volume's not really going anywhere. The only one who could possibly really on this offense take away from him is Travis Etienne might maybe eventually see an uptick in targets. But, in terms of his situation, I don't really see it changing anytime soon. He just got a long-term contract. If Jacksonville ends up investing in another receiver, that might change things. But for now, he's the one I want to hold on my roster. He's 25. He's got a good spot. If I'm taking that late 2023 first, it's a dart throw sometimes. You're not always going to hit that. And there's a guy who is going to be productive for you, putting up about 20 points a week so far this year. And, Trevor Lawrence is only going to get better. So I definitely want to hold Christian Kirk on my roster. And like you said, I think if I'm going to be trading Mike Williams, it's probably exactly for that value of the 2023 late first. So I think that the first is going to be more flexible to trade than the 27-year-old receiver. So I'm going to trade the late first and cut Mike Williams as well.
Yeah. So it sounds like we agree on that one, which is rare that we agree on all three of them. But hey, we'll take it. So I got one for you. We'll switch it up. We will go to – I'll give you some running backs. And I have 2 running back questions. Do you want the one with elite names or do you want the one with secondary names first?
Give me the one with secondary names first so I can score.
Okay. So this one, I personally think it's a good one, especially after how the offseason went for you and I. So you can assume Josh Jacobs is going to be a part of this one, right? So keep trade cut. You got Josh Jacobs, Damian Pierce, and David Montgomery.
Probably gonna keep Josh Jacobs still. I think that him and David Montgomery are pretty equal in terms of who they are as football players. So I think I'm gonna keep Josh Jacobs. I think I'm gonna trade Montgomery, just because he has had that 20-point week and we haven't seen that out of Josh Jacobs yet. So I'm assuming I can probably get more value out of David Montgomery. And then I'll cut Damian Pierce. Starting to feel like Damian Pierce was kind of just a pipe dream. And even when they're trying to force him into the offense, I don't really know if he's ever going to have that crazy upside. So I think I'm gonna cut him and worry about it another day.
Yeah, Damian Pierce had a pretty solid week 3. Let's see, where was his stats? Here we go. 20 carries, 80 yards, and a touchdown. Granted, most of his damage was done on the ground, but he did have a handful of catches, I believe, and a fumble. So take that for what you will. I agree with you on keeping Josh Jacobs. He has not hit his ceiling yet, but he hasn't found the end zone at all. And the first 3 weeks, he had 8 points, 9 points, and 14.5 points. And we kind of knew that that's what Josh Jacobs was coming into the 2022 season. Like the 8 and 9 points, that's a little disappointing. But that 14-point week, that's probably more of the norm than an 8-point week. And that's without him scoring a touchdown. So he's just a very solid RB2. You're never going to get the value you want from him in the trade. So, yeah, I agree. I'm going to keep him. But I am going to trade away Damian Pierce, and then I'll cut Montgomery. I think Montgomery just doesn't get any of the hype, especially with him going down and Khalil Herbert absolutely wrecking in week 3, which was kind of exciting to watch. But I think that the Damian Pierce cult following is still alive and well, and I think after a big week 3 against Chicago, it's even more alive and well. So I'm going to trade him. I'll keep Jacobs, and then I'll cut David Montgomery.
Yeah, and I think the entire Vegas offense has really been disappointing.
Well, and you know what the worst thing is? So it makes me look stupid for toting Derek Carr as a potential top 5 guy in 2022. But dude, if you watch those games, like I know Hunter Renfrow didn't play in week 3, but Hunter Renfrow's had some bad drops. Darren Waller dropped 2 touchdowns in week 3. Like Mac Hollins has been their leading receiver over the last 2 weeks because I don't know what is wrong with this team right now, but I don't know if it's a coaching issue or what's going on, but Vegas is like really bumming me out right now because I was really hoping for a big year from Derek Carr, but through 3 weeks we're not getting a big year from Derek Carr.
Yeah, and I misspoke before. Sorry, I have allergies today. My eyes are watery. I thought David Montgomery had a 19.6 week. It was only a 15-point week, but still, I think that his name probably holds more value and consistency in the trade market right now over a guy like Damian Pierce. Because he's, is not what we were promised in the offseason. But, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how things play out. It's still so early. We talked about it the other day. I mean, the biggest lesson to learn is that, like, it's never time to panic. I mean, when a guy we're about to talk about in a few minutes, actually, a guy Devonta Smith, like, you look at, his value in the beginning of the season. He had 0 targets or 1 target in week 1. I'm not going back to look. He had 0 fantasy points. It was like panic button, and now look at him, right? But so now I'll move into my next one. As far as panic button goes, this one also applies here, right? So we have Devonta Adams, CeeDee Lamb, or an early 23 first.
That's tough. That's actually a really tough one, and it really depends on the situation that I'm in. I think Devonta Adams is still a top 10 wide receiver for the rest of the year. I know that Derek Carr and the Raiders are struggling, and I mean Devonta Adams only had 9 points in week 2 and only had 14 points in week 3, and he's caught a touchdown in every single week. Like those are with touchdowns onto those points. And we know that you don't score a touchdown every single game. So it's a bit concerning, but I think I'm going to keep Devonta Adams in this scenario and just hope that I can string together a solid 2022. And then it's really a toss up with this early 23 and CeeDee Lamb, but as it stands right now, probably dropping CD and I'm trading the 2023 first round. I mean, you know better than anyone, the hype on this 2023 class is absolutely absurd. I think people would do nearly anything to have a legitimate shot at getting Bijan Robinson because Bijan is like the unquestioned next Saquon Barkley type guy, right? Like we have not seen a running back prospect this hyped since Saquon Barkley, and getting a guy like that on your team is like second to none. I'm almost tempted to keep that over Devonta Adams, right? Because like just the thought of that is so exciting. But that statement in itself is the reason why I'm trading that 23 first, because I'm going to get the world for that 23 first. If this is a guaranteed top 4 pick, you have a 25% chance of landing number 1 overall in the 2023 rookie draft. You're going to get a king's ransom for it. So that's going to be my trade. I'll drop CeeDee Lamb and I'll keep Devonta.
Yeah, and it's tough too because I mean that early pick could also land you, a guy like CJ Stroud or Bryce Young too. But I think I'm still going to believe in the talent in CD. I mean, he's only 23 years old. I really do think he's an elite talent in this league, and it's only a matter of time before he starts showing it. I think it's a premier buy low opportunity for CeeDee Lamb. I mean, I think his ceiling, I think we have not even begun to see close to his ceiling yet.
Well, and I have to say this just for the sake of the video. We are recording this 2.5 hours before Monday Night Football. So if CeeDee Lamb pops or something happens to CeeDee Lamb, this is before that. Just a heads up.
Yeah. So I'm not Captain Obvious. I'm actually ahead of my time because there's a lot of CD doubters right now. And as you scroll down Twitter, there's not a lot of people that are in love with CeeDee Lamb right now. But I'm believing that if I have CeeDee Lamb and whatever I can buy for that early 2023 first, I as a core of my roster, I think I'm going to be a competing team. I think I'm going to be a really strong team with a lot of value on it. So, yeah, like you said, King's Ransom for the 23 first. I think I'm going to trade that. I'm going to keep CD. And, yeah, Vegas has just been disappointing. And Devonta's, 29, so the clock is ticking there, at max another 3 years of production if he's really good until he's really old, So, yeah, I'm going to keep CD, trade that early first, and cut Devonta.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that thought process. I'm just really holding out hope that Derek Carr and the Raiders get their shit together. But the way I look at it, if I keep Devonta Adams, I got my solid, hopefully top 5 wide receiver for the rest of the year, and then I'll flip that early 23 first for either 1 or 2 other really good win now pieces. Like I'd go out there and buy myself a Stephon Diggs or a Cooper Kupp or something like that with that pick and pair that with Adams and just have a good time in 2022. But I have a couple more questions here for you, and I'll give you the mixed bag next. So I have 5 of them written down. Only one of them has multiple positions in it, and I'm going to give that one to you right now. So keep trade cut, Pat Fryermuth, AJ Dillon, and Brandon Ayuk.
I think I'm going to keep Brandon Ayuk. Actually, no. No, I think I'm gonna. Sorry, it was Fryermuth, Ayuk, and who?
AJ Dillon.
AJ Dillon. Okay, so you know who I'm gonna cut? The name I forgot. I'm gonna cut AJ Dillon. I'm gonna keep Pat Fryermuth because I really do think that he can be, that next Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce. I really think he can develop into that. And if he ends up in a high-powered offense, if Kenny Pickett can turn this into a really good offense, or if they even pick up another receiver to really spread this ball out and, open up some room in the end zone. I mean, I think this guy is going to be next level. I really do. I think he's going to be a premier positional advantage. I think I'm gonna trade Brandon Ayuk because I think that he's going to be more replaceable in my lineup than a guy like Fryermuth. I think Fryermuth can be a guy who gives you, 15 to 17 points a week when he's 26 years old at the tight end position. I really think he can develop into that, and I'm gonna hold that and get what I can for Brandon Ayuk, and then I'm gonna cut AJ Dillon in his timeshare.
See, you and I all over the place on this one because we have a totally different thought process on all this, and I'm actually excited about that. So first things first, I'm actually going to cut Pat Fryermuth. And the reason why, maybe it's because I've been burned by TJ Hawkinson. Maybe it's because I've been burned by Evan Ingram. Maybe it's because I've been burned by whoever else, right? But in my opinion, Pat Fryermuth, I was so excited about TJ Hawkinson a couple years ago, and he looked good. He looked almost exactly like Pat Fryermuth those first couple of years, and it just never came to fruition. And maybe it's unfair to compare the two, but I can see Pat Fryermuth just being stuck as a perennial, mid to low TE1. And those guys are so interchangeable, right? Like TE7 through TE15 last year were all within 15 points of each other. So I just think that unless a tight end has legitimate top 5 upside at their position, I don't think they're as valuable as perceived value would say they are, right? So that's my thought process. So I'm going to cut Pat Fryermuth. I'm going to keep Brandon Ayuk because you know how I feel about Brandon Ayuk. I toted him all off season. I still feel the exact same way towards Brandon Ayuk. Before the Sunday Night Football game turned into absolute bullshit, Brandon Ayuk had like 12 points on the first drive of the entire game. Like Brandon Ayuk is a stud. It's just Jimmy Garoppolo is not. And Trey Lance needs to get up to speed when he comes back in year 3. So it's going to be a slow process for Brandon Ayuk at this point now. I was really hoping he was going to have a year to build with Trey Lance. Obviously, not going to happen. It is what it is. But I'm going to keep him because I love the upside that he carries. And then I'm going to trade AJ Dillon. And the reason why is because people are just so needy for running backs all the time. I would hope that by the time I do sell AJ Dillon, he'll have another 20-point week under his belt because weeks 2 and 3, he most certainly did not. But yeah, I'm going to sell AJ Dillon based purely off of the need for running backs in most leagues. So keep Ayuk, cut Dillon, and then trade Dillon, and then I'll cut Pat F.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. But I mean, I think in terms of the timeline with Fryermuth, it's just like you look at guys like Darren Waller, Travis Kelce, those two are not going to be in the league, and it's who's going to step up. I still believe in guys like TJ Hawkinson and Fryermuth to step up and be those guys that are the positional advantage and the top 5 in the league, So I think it's all to be developed, but we'll see. We'll see who's right on that one. Unfortunately, it's going to be a couple years until we see who's right on that one with Trey Lance's injury until 2023 and also just the development of tight ends, right, and that Pittsburgh offense. But the next one is actually involving one of the tight ends that you and I both love, and I feel like we can't stop talking about him because of how awesome he is. So we're going to go – this is just 3 studs at 3 different positions. Mark Andrews, Cooper Kupp, and Jonathan Taylor.
I'm so happy you asked this because I'm sitting here thinking that there are not many players that I'm taking over Mark Andrews. And I don't care. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm crazy for saying that I'm about to keep Mark Andrews over Jonathan Taylor. But I'm going to keep Mark Andrews over Jonathan Taylor, damn it. Because, dude, I keep going back to the well. But you made the most amazing analogy this offseason, and you said if you could turn back the clock 6 years and have Travis Kelce for the next 6 years on your dynasty team, who would you take over that? And the answer is not many players, right? So I'm gonna keep Mark Andrews there. And I took him early second round, well ahead of his ADP in a lot of startups this offseason. Pretty much in every single mock draft that you and I did over the summer, I was taking Mark Andrews at the latest, was like 206. I was taking him well ahead of his ADP. And he's tight end 1 through 3 weeks. He is still the Lamar Jackson saying, fuck it, Mark Andrews down there somewhere, right? Mark Andrews is a stud. And I want that positional advantage. And I'm going to get chewed out for taking him over Jonathan Taylor, but I'm going to. And then I'm going to trade JT and I'm going to cut Cooper Kupp. I don't want to cut Cooper Kupp. Nobody wants to cut Cooper Kupp because he's fucking awesome. But, it is what it is. Jonathan Taylor, despite a slow start, he's still the dynasty tight end 1 for almost everybody out there. Like, this is just a shitty year for running backs. Nobody is doing well outside of Nick Chubb and Saquon Barkley, right? Like, everyone kind of sucks this year for the running backs. But you can still get a king's ransom for Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor is still going to go before Cooper Kupp in startups, and he's likely still going to go before Mark Andrews in a lot of startups. So he's going to yield you the overall RB1 return. And then with Cooper Kupp, he's just the odd man out there, right? So I'm going to keep Andrews. Not surprising for me, probably not surprising to you either, but I'm sure it's surprising to some people watching this. But keep Andrews, trade JT, cut Kupp, and I'm not sorry about it.
Yeah, and we're right down the middle on this one, right? I mean, it's like, would I rather have Mark Andrews and the 3 first-round picks that I'm going to get for Jonathan Taylor or the equivalent in value, or would I rather have Jonathan Taylor and the 2 firsts plus a depth piece that I'd get for Mark Andrews? I'm probably rather taking Mark Andrews and the 3 firsts that I'll get for Jonathan Taylor. So I'm going to hold Mark Andrews, trade JT, and then, like you said, Cooper Kupp's just the odd man out, the old wide receiver who's really productive, but stinks. You gotta trade him. We gotta cut him over the young running back who's RB1. So yeah, right down the middle with you on that one.
I'm so happy that you asked that because I have been dying to talk about Mark Andrews in these videos, and like we've been doing a lot of start sits, we've been doing a lot of sell highs, buy lows, whatever, and I can't put Mark Andrews anywhere in those videos. And this one, I'm so happy because there are not many there are not many players in the National Football League that I would rather have on my dynasty team than Mark Andrews. Moving on, I got 2 more questions for you. I'll ask the wide receiver one first, and then we'll end with a bang on the stud running backs. But this one's going to be interesting because I know there's at least a couple of these guys that you really liked in the offseason, and they've been balling out. So keep trade cut, Jalen Waddle, Drake London, and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Oh, wow. So I'm going to have to change one of my other ones. So I'm probably it was tough.
I did not want to make it easy on you for this one because I know you're a big Drake London and an Amon-Ra fan, and then I mean obviously how can you not like Jalen Waddle, especially after the start he's had?
Yeah, so because I think that I'm getting the most value out of Jalen Waddle, I think he's got to be the trade guy. Right, because I think that I'm going to get comparable production out of the other 2 wide receivers over the next couple of years as well. So I think I'm going to be trading Waddle no matter what. And then in terms of Wow, London or Amon Ra? I have to keep Drake London, I think. As much as Amon Ra has exploded, Drake London is the guy who, like you said, I've loved since this offseason before he was getting drafted. A lot of people loved him. He was a lot of people's wide receiver one in this draft class, and he's proven why. And it's going to break my heart to let go of Amon Ra, but yeah, I guess I'm going to have to do it and keep Drake London, cut Amon Ra, trade Jalen Waddle. That was a dirty one. That was a really dirty one.
Well, 3 games in his rookie season, Drake London is the wide receiver 4. Amon Ra is the wide receiver 3 on the season, and Jalen Waddle is the wide receiver 4. They're all killing it, right? And Jalen Waddle and Amon Ra, they're both top 4 wide receivers in their second year. And then Drake London is top 14 in his first year in a really shitty offense, mind you, right? Pretty awesome. It's tough because I asked you this without actually thinking of the question ahead of time because I'm like, oh shit, I have to answer this too. And I agree mostly with you. I think I would trade Amon-Ra St. Brown because I think people are just really obsessed with him right now because just the people who were big truthers on him this offseason, they'll give you the moon for Amon-Ra right now. I think he's got more of a cult following than Jalen Waddle does. And I think in a normal trade, usually you'd get more for Waddle, but if you have that Amon-Ra fan in your league, I think you can get a king's ransom for him. So I'm going to trade Amon-Ra, and then I'll probably keep Drake London, and I'll cut Jalen Waddle. And it's funny because I was not a big Drake London fan this offseason, but he's made me a believer in only 3 weeks. I mean, dude has no business being that big and moving as fluid as he does, right? Like Kyle Pitts last year set records for a rookie tight end. And granted, Kyle Pitts had a good week 3, but Drake London literally walked on that field and said, Kyle Pitts, hold my jock, right? Like Drake London is commanding targets and he's doing it in a big way. Nobody expected any of these rookie receivers to be top 20 options, especially in the first, 3-4 weeks of the season. Drake London's number 14. And that's only going to get better, right? Like I don't know, like it's a tough one, right? Because I'd be happy to have any of these guys, but for the sake of it, I'm going to keep Drake London. I think Amon-Ra is going to give me the highest return if I find the right guy, and then I'll cut Jalen Waddle. But I don't want to trade or cut any of these guys. I want all 3, and I want to win my league with them.
Yeah, right. And Amon-Ra is a guy that I'm really proud of being high on this offseason because everyone just said it was because Hawkinson and Swift were hurt, and now J-Mo was going to come in and take all these targets. And now I was the one who said, no, I loved what he did. I thought he looked awesome. And now here we are. He's a top 5 wide receiver.
Well, I am intrigued to see what happens when Jameson Williams is up to speed and he gets involved because he's got the draft capital. The coaches, the whole staff traded up for him on purpose, right? So you wonder what his target share is going to look like. And you, by association, it is going to take away some targets from Amon-Ra, but it's still not out of the question to say Amon-Ra is going to see a floor of like 7 to 9 targets each week, even when J-Mo comes back. So yeah, you can't go wrong. In our league, I will give you a shout out. You bought him for, what was it, a 2024 first, I think it was. Like you sent a random ass future first for someone hoping that they were going to basically pull the wool over your eyes and get a first out of you for Amon-Ra. Nobody is selling Amon-Ra for just a random 2024 first right now. Like that was great job on you. Just wanted to shout that out. I'll let you get into your next one here, but I got to give you props on that one. That's an excellent trade you made a few months ago.
Yeah, and that one was snap accepted, I think, too. Like didn't even think twice. It was like, all right, yeah, take them right off my hands. It's like, you know what, you get a young receiver who's shown you that they're capable of doing something and they continue to do it, and all of a sudden the value's rising. So that actually tripped me up because my next one was going to be Devonta Smith, Amon-Ra, and Drake London. But
no way.
Yeah, but I'll switch it up. So we'll talk Devonta Smith, and let's talk Breece Hall, Travis Etienne.
Okay, that's a good one. Devonta Smith, Breece Hall, and Travis Etienne. Well, dude, James Robinson, I know we both highlighted him as a sell high, but dude, like he's getting stronger each week, and he's kind of looking like the truth right now. And I think Etienne is going to struggle more than we thought to break out. So I think I'm actually going to cut Etienne, and I hate saying that because I don't want to cut Etienne, but I'm going to. And then it comes down to Breece Hall and Devonta Smith. I think I can get a better return for Devonta Smith, and I think I'd be happier with keeping Breece Hall because he is the running back of the future for the Jets. He's getting a shit ton of targets in a lot of negative game scripts. All he needs is to start getting some carries, and those are going to come. We're only 3 weeks into his rookie year. Like, we knew there was going to be a slow start, and I think his value has dipped because of the slow start, but if you were planning ahead, you knew this was going to come, right? So I'm going to keep Breece Hall. I'm going to trade Devonta Smith because he's coming off of an absolute madman week, right? What was it, like 150 yards and a touchdown or something ridiculous like that? Devonta Smith is the fucking truth. He looks so good, and he never has to face the top corner because A.J. Brown is always going to do that, and A.J. Brown is still manhandling guys out there. Like, that's awesome, and people know that it's awesome. And Devonta Smith is worth a lot. And I think you actually called Devonta Smith a buy low after week 1, if I remember correctly, after he put up 0 points. So, Tyler, again, another shout out to you, you fucking genius. But yeah, I'm going to sell Devonta. He's coming off of a big game and a really good offense. I'm going to keep Breece Hall, and then breaks my heart, but I'm going to cut Travis Etienne here.
Yeah, and I think this one's about to break my heart too. But due to what's been confirmed in the last week or 2 weeks, really, that Devonta Smith is a really good wide receiver. And I think we all knew that for a while, just doubted the situation. But I mean, Jalen Hurts has proved that he can sustain this offense, and he can sustain 2 really good wide receivers. So I think I'm gonna want Devonta Smith's career on my roster over Breece Hall's, actually. And I think that's
surprising from you because I know how you feel about Breece.
If you had asked me this question a month ago, during the time when we were doing startups 2 months ago, right? This never would have happened. I would never would have taken Devonta Smith over Breece Hall, but
Travis Etienne,
or Travis Etienne for that matter, right? But I think that he's proven that he can be that guy for a long time. He's a young guy. He was the guy who was drafted, right behind the Jamar Chases and those guys. He's a high first round pick. He's got the draft capital. The Eagles have invested in that offense. I think that he's going to be good for a long time. I think that even though Breece Hall is going to be elite, the lifespan is just going to be what the running back lifespan is. And Travis Etienne is the one who's disappointed. So I'm going to keep Devonta, trade Breece Hall, and cut Travis Etienne there.
That's fair. All right, so I'll get into my last one here for you. And I think it's going to be tough. Saquon Barkley, Deandre Swift, Javonte Williams.
Ooh. I think that, if you look at the trade market, you're probably not getting Saquon Barkley for less than, or at least too much less than 2 firsts right now. I think he's proven that he is still explosive and is still going to get the volume, and he still can be a productive running back in the league. So I think you're probably not going to get, it's not going to be far off the value that you're going to get for Swift or Javonte. And I think I'd rather have either one of them on my team than Saquon right now. So I'm going to cut Saquon, and it's just a coin flip for this one, right? I guess I'd put them both out to the league, and whoever I get a bigger offer for is going to leave the team between DeAndre Swift and Javonte Williams. If you put a gun to my head, I'd probably rather keep DeAndre Swift and trade Javonte, just because I think DeAndre Swift is a little bit better, maybe not of an NFL running back, but a fantasy running back. But yeah, if you ask me tomorrow and the wind was blowing north as opposed to the west that it is today, might be a different story there.
I think my answer is going to surprise you here because I'm surprising myself by saying it out loud. First things first, I agree with you. Saquon Barkley is going to be my trade because I've said this a lot in the offseason. I fully expected Barkley to potentially prove me wrong, but I think that he offers a really good return right now. And obviously he has less longevity than DeAndre Swift and Javonte Williams do. And that's really all I care about. I think all 3 of them are pretty similar in terms of ceiling. Javonte probably.
Saquon was my cut. Is that what you meant? Or
Yeah. Well, I'm saying Saquon's going to be my trade.
oh, okay. Well, you said you agreed with me, and then said it was your trade.
Oh, sorry. No, Saquon's going to be my trade. And to your point, you said you could probably get 2 firsts for Saquon right now, and I agree with that. And I think that's what I'm going to do. The surprising part is that I'm actually going to cut Deandre Swift. He was my dynasty RB2 coming into this season. And as much as I'd still like to say that, I don't think I can, because DeAndre Swift is the definition of a good fantasy, of an elite fantasy running back. He's exactly what you want, except for one major detail, and that's his injury recurrence. It's only week 3, and he's already out for the next 2-3 weeks if you're counting the bye week, right? They're saying he's not going to be back until after the week 6 bye at this point because he hurt his shoulder. The week before that, he hurt his ankle. He was hobbled in practice, and he lost a lot of touches in week 2 to Jameson Williams. When DeAndre Swift is healthy, there are not many, if any, better fantasy running backs to have on your roster at this moment. But he's a smaller dude. He's getting beat up, and even when he's healthy, this Lions coaching staff, they know what they have in Swift. They know he's elite in certain situations, but they also know that they have Jameson Williams, who is perfectly fine as an in-between-the-tackles bruiser type guy. And because of that reason, because DeAndre Swift is hurt already, I think his workload is never, ever, ever going to be what we want it to be. I don't foresee him having very many games, even when quote-unquote fully healthy. I don't see him having many games where he's getting more than 15 total attempts / receptions, right? So I'm going to sell him just because I don't think we're ever going to see a true ceiling from DeAndre Swift. And the best ability to have in fantasy football is having availability. And in his young career, we have not seen even remotely close to a full season out of DeAndre Swift. So unfortunately, he's going to be my cut here. Saquon's going to be my trade. And then by association, I'm more than happy to have Javonte Williams. The reason why I'm not trading Javonte and I'm trading Saquon, though, is because Denver's offense is fucking stale right now. And I think you'll get more for Saquon than you would for Javonte Williams, right? Like, Denver's offense is garbage. Nathaniel Hackett is a garbage coach. They have absolutely nothing good going on for them. That'll fix itself. And Javonte's still a solid option between now and whenever they fix it. But I think out of the 3 of these, Javonte has the lowest value right now in Dynasty, which is weird to say, which is really weird to say. But that's the truth. So keep Javonte, trade Barkley, cut Swift.
Yeah, that one did surprise me there. It stinks when the injury bug comes to bite you in real life, right? When you're hopeful in the off season and then it doesn't work out. But it's the risk we take in the game we play.
Exactly. So heartbreaker. DeAndre Swift is still probably a top 5 dynasty running back for me. Like, I would personally trade away more for him than I would for Barkley, but it is what it is. I think that's how the trade market would go right now.
So then my last one's not too much of a barn burner, but interesting with 3 guys who are probably similar in value right now. And I actually have no idea where I'm going to go with this, but I guess I'll find out as you talk through it. It's going to be J.K. Dobbins, Kenny Walker, and George Pickens.
J.K. Dobbins, Kenny Walker, and George Pickens for Dynasty. Shit. Well, I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm going to trade George Pickens. We're fresh off of that stupid, insane catch that he had. And J.K. Dobbins has not really – I mean, did he do anything in week 3? I didn't really hear his name called too much. He had 6 points. 6 points, 7 carries, 23 yards, a handful of catches. That's really it. I don't think J.K. Dobbins or Kenny Walker is going to bring me a lot of return in the trade market right now. I think George Pickens, probably not much farther ahead, but he just had that OBJ-esque catch, and that in itself is going to increase his value. So we'll trade George Pickens. We'll see what we can get for him. And then between Dobbins and Kenny Walker, I'm not excited to have either one of them on my team, if I'm being entirely honest with you. I will probably go with Kenny Walker just because J.K. Dobbins' injuries from last year, they're going to linger throughout the 2022 season. I know he says he's healthy, but like, dude, he like tore or partially tore 4 different aspects of his knee. And I don't care if he's back to being quote unquote 100%. He's not going to be 100% until at least the 2023 season. So we'll cut him. We'll take Kenny Walker. I don't think I'm getting a ton of production out of either of them, but it's more of a future move. Keep Kenny Walker nice and young, a lot of opportunity ahead of him, and cut Dobbins, trade Pickens.
Yeah, and I'm torn on this one. Dobbins is definitely the one that I'm cutting, just because I already hate him. Even though I probably could feel the same way about Kenny Walker in the next couple years. I think I'm going to trade Kenny Walker because there are still believers in leagues of Kenny Walker. I think I'm going to trade Kenny Walker, and I think I might be hopping on the George Pickens train. I mean, he was a highly touted receiver. This time last year, a lot of people thought he was going to be one of the top receivers taken in this draft. Then injuries, and he gets in fights on fields and stuff. He is 21 years old. He's younger than me. I think I'm gonna keep George Pickens. I think I want him for the rest of his career, and I'll find a Kenny Walker believer because I think I'm probably getting similar value. I mean, I don't know. I guess unless there's a crazy George Pickens guy in the league, but yeah, I think I want to be that crazy George Pickens guy. I'll hold on to him. I'll trade Kenny Walker and I'll cut J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that at all. I think Walker and Pickens are kind of a toss-up for me, right? But fuck, dude. Now that you said that, maybe I'm leaning trade Walker and keep Pickens. I don't know. That's a tough one for me. But you and I both agree. We're cutting J.K. Dobbins because I mean, he had a really cool rookie season, right? 3 years ago, he had a really cool rookie season, great efficiency, good touchdown rate. Not much in the passing game, and injured 2021, going to be injured 2022. Just, I don't know. I've never understood the big hype with Dobbins, especially over the last 2 years. But hey, it is what it is. This was fun. I always really enjoy doing these keep trade cut videos because we, like you said, we make each other squirm and we make ourselves squirm, right? Like we both asked at least one question where we're like, yeah, we're going to stump him. And then it's like, well, what are you going to do? Oh, I don't know. So it's tough, but it's a ton of fun. And you know what else is a ton of fun? Subscribing to our channel. So we would really appreciate it if you did that so that you can hop aboard and always get those notifications when we post these videos like that. It's also fun to leave a comment if you got something to say. If there's any keep trade cut scenarios you want to throw our way, we'll be happy to answer those. And obviously leave a like on this video if you like that. And yeah, as always, we're going to be dropping some more videos. Or I should say Tyler's going to be dropping more videos. I'm going to be out for the next week and a half or so, but I will be back, so try not to miss me too much. Before we wrap up, Tyler, you got anything for everyone?
No, I mean, I just really like these videos. They make us think on our feet, and it doesn't take a lot of preparation to do them. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, enjoy doing them. Enjoy hanging out with you. I can't wait to see you this weekend, buddy.
Absolutely, man. I'm pumped for it, but we'll go ahead and wrap this up. So for myself, for Tyler, and for that Dynasty show, thanks for checking into our Keep Trade Cut video today, and we will see you next time.